The following is produced by 5 Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content, and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
Can you imagine saving $50 on your electric bill over the lifetime of one light bulb? Replacing a regular 60-watt bulb with a 15-watt compact fluorescent will use less electricity and give off the same amount of light. Electrical suppliers are so confident in the future of this new bulb, some actually lease them to their customers for a mere 20 cents a month. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join me this week as Today's Environment explores these and other enlightening environmental solutions.
Today, City Council in effect with 9,000
reducing air pollutants by
a milestone.
30%. Educational programs.
Oil. Most people don't know that it can be used again and again and again. If just the lubricating oil in the United States were re-refined, it could heat 600,000 homes annually. Here is what is being accomplished in the area of oil reclamation and alternative fuels for the future.
These cars are not in rush hour traffic. They're lining up voluntarily, waiting to unload their old household chemicals, paints, oils, and other potentially hazardous materials. The wastes will be unloaded and sorted according to the waste type and taken to a special waste treatment center, where it will be recycled or disposed of in an environmentally sound manner. They don't want to put it in the trash and have it wind up in a landfill or public sewer. On this hazardous waste day, 1,600 cars will pass through the collection point in response to this semi-annual community-wide program. The operation is being run by Heritage Environmental Services Incorporated, a waste management company that provides laboratory services, constructs and operates waste treatment facilities, and treats, recycles, and disposes of industrial wastes. They also have a network of environmental testing laboratories that specialize in the analysis of wastewater and oils, solid and hazardous wastes, and even drinking water. The waste collected will be transported to a heritage treatment center. The chemicals are unpacked and sorted into groups that can either be recycled or treated and disposed of. The household wastes that are collected generally fall into 4 categories: paints, motor oils, household cleaners, and yard and pest chemicals. Paint, both latex and oil-based, accounts for about 40% of all the wastes that are collected. The paint will be mixed with other chemicals that have a potential fuel value. Most of it is burned as supplemental fuel in cement kilns. The cans will be cleaned, crushed, and sent to a steel mill, and could turn up again in your next automobile. The second most common item found in these collection centers is oil, which might have been drained from the family car or lawnmower. The dirt and metal fragments are removed, and it is then reprocessed and used as fuel in the making of asphalt. Household cleaners like bleaches, which have corrosive characteristics, must be separated into different classes and then neutralized. Pesticides and herbicides will be taken to a high-temperature incinerator where they will be destroyed. Glass containers will be washed and crushed and recycled as a substitute for aggregate used in asphalt. The acid in batteries is neutralized, and the lead is removed and recycled. In this one day, people brought in 1,000 gallons of oil, 8,000 gallons of paint, and another 6,000 gallons of other various household wastes. Without these special collections, this waste would end up in the local landfill and public sewer, where it could combine with the groundwater and eventually contaminate the drinking water. However, with the proper waste management procedures, approximately 70% of household hazardous chemicals can be recycled or treated and removed from the environment.
Most of us don't give a second thought to the materials that we use for packaging. But packaging accounts for 50% of the volume and 30% of the weight of all our municipal waste. Today's environment learned of some medical packaging that helps reduce the actual amount of waste from our hospitals.
Medical miracles occur every day in the operating rooms of America's hospitals, but dangerous conditions exist that not only threaten the health and safety of the entire healthcare community and their patients, but also have a negative effect on the environment. American hospitals generate some 1 billion pounds of infectious waste annually. Needles, syringes, bandages, lab dishes, rubber gloves, and numerous materials come in contact with infectious agents during every surgical procedure. Contaminated gowns and other disposable single-use products contribute to this medical waste crisis. As regulations tighten and public concern intensifies due to interstate hauling of wastes, overcrowded landfills, and incineration, the problem must be addressed. One company, EnviroPak Medical Products of North Salt Lake, Utah, a division of Surgical Technologies Incorporated, is providing a timely alternative. EnviroPak offers hospitals, surgical centers, and healthcare facilities products and services that protect the patient and surgical staff while benefiting the environment. Using these products and services can reduce the medical waste in the operating room by as much as 80%. The process uses a synthetic reusable fabric in place of disposable single-use products. The fabric is manufactured into gowns, table covers, wrappers, and patient drapes. Its built-in technology provides consistent barrier protection to the surgical team and the patient throughout the life of the fabric. Constructed from a durable multi-filament synthetic fiber, the non-linting material can be recycled over 100 times. Special steps are taken to ensure that sterility procedures are maintained during delivery. Sterile-lined plastic carts are used while transporting the product to hospitals. Cover-ups are provided as a protective garment when the driver retrieves soiled products to be returned to the plant for recycling. The soiled product is picked up and transported in separate laundry carts, which have previously been designated for soiled laundry. The linen is washed in computerized washing machines, which can be programmed exactly to the parameters of the fabric requirements. Each product is examined on a light table for possible holes, tears, flaws, or stains to assure quality is maintained. If any imperfections are found, the product is repaired or taken out of service. At this point, the control grid is marked, indicating one additional use and processing cycle has occurred. After the products have been folded and assembled into packs, they're placed in a sterilization chamber where a deep penetrating steam kill process ensures maximum sterility. EnviroPak provides hospitals with a safe, cost-effective, and environmentally sound alternative to disposable surgical products. Their system can make a difference by reducing the never-ending flow of medical waste to landfills and incinerators while providing significantly better protection to patients and their healthcare providers. And by making hospitals more recycle conscious, the use of the EnviroPak system may also encourage them to search out other ways to recycle products instead of discarding them after a single use.
$20 for a light bulb? That's about what the new compact fluorescent ones cost, but they actually last 10 times longer than ordinary bulbs and only use 1/4 of the electricity. That comes to a yearly savings of $4 to $6 in energy. Next, we'll investigate some new energy-efficient lighting techniques.
Lights. They're everywhere, from concerts to Broadway, in factories, stores, ball fields, and the homes we live in. Add it all up, and the energy consumption is enormous and growing every day. Though everyone may talk about saving energy, there is someone that is doing something about it in the lighting industry. OSRAM Corporation, the world's third largest manufacturer of light sources. They've been a producer of energy-efficient lighting products for a long time and are a participant in major energy conservation efforts on industrial, commercial, and residential fronts. One of the keys in this effort is the compact fluorescent Dulux EL lamp. This electronic light bulb has a breakthrough energy-saving ballast. The lamp consumes up to 75% less energy and lasts up to 13 times longer than the conventional incandescent light bulb. Better still, it will prevent the emission of 650 pounds of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere over its 10,000-hour life. This is no small benefit. The Environmental Protection Agency estimates that the use of energy-efficient lighting could reduce air pollution significantly, not to mention the nearly $19 billion in energy costs that can be invested more productively elsewhere. With mounting pressures to reduce the expansion of generating plants, federal and state agencies are mandating reductions in energy consumption. 2 Connecticut power companies were ordered to cut energy consumption by $4 million in state-owned and occupied buildings. To comply with the order, the utilities decided to replace all of the University of Connecticut Health Center's incandescent bulbs with energy-saving T8 fluorescent lamps. In a second phase, all magnetic ballasts were replaced with electronic ballasts. In all, 9,000 OSRAM ballasts and 38,000 light bulbs were installed. The result? A savings of more than 5 million kilowatt hours per year. More and more commercial operations are seeking new ways to conserve energy while cutting back their ever-growing electric bills. One example, the Sheraton Tacoma Hotel in Washington State was facing a 34% rate increase over 9 months and made a complete switchover to Dulux EL compact fluorescent lamps. In other energy-saving programs targeted at homeowners, the company has cooperated with utilities in Maine, New York, Massachusetts, Ohio, Wisconsin, and California. Their products frequently have been sold at a discount to encourage conservation. They are also a manufacturing ally in the EPA's Green Lights program, a project dedicated to encouraging the use of energy-efficient lighting across the nation. Looking to the future and further advances in lighting technology and energy conservation, 8% of gross sales go towards research and development of these areas. As a result of their R&D, OSRAM, together with utility companies and their customers, has been able to realize energy savings while benefiting the environment.
Water, the lifeblood of our planet. Each and every year, 135 billion pounds of toxic waste are discharged into our lakes, our rivers, and our oceans. Today's environment found one disposal solution to this type of waste. Watch this.
The advance of technology has brought with it drawbacks for companies that generate wastes in their manufacturing and finishing operations. Metals like cadmium, chromium, and nickel are used in consumer products with a shiny metallic finish, like toasters and irons. They're also present in a wide variety of industrial products, for example, stainless steel and solder. Lead is found primarily in automobile batteries, and a copper waste results from the manufacture of circuit boards for computers. If these toxic metal wastes are not managed properly, they can leak into the environment through groundwater and be consumed by people, animals, and plants. Envirite Corporation specializes in managing hazardous wastes. The company accepts these wastes in the form of solids, sludges, liquids, soils, and filter cakes, which is the residue after waste has been removed. It converts them from hazardous to non-hazardous materials and safely deposits them in its own non-hazardous landfills. In this unique process, a hazardous waste sample is collected and analyzed. If it is treatable, a procedure that will render the waste non-hazardous and safe for disposal is developed and tested in the lab. Once accepted, the waste is brought to one of the company's treatment facilities. There, the laboratory assumes control of the process. Every aspect, from where the waste is stored in the plant, to which treatment rules are used, how much of each is added, and in what order. And the lab tests the waste after each step to verify that the treatment has been successful. Treatment of liquid waste begins when they are pumped into one of the plant's detoxifying tanks. A series of chemical reactions are carried out using other wastes and reagents selected by the laboratory to neutralize the waste. When the chemical treatment has been completed, wastes are pumped to a filter press, which converts them into solid, non-hazardous materials. The result is a treated substance that exceeds federal, state, and local standards for disposal, and is environmentally safer than the untreated waste. The waste is shipped to one of Envirite's own non-hazardous landfills for disposal, a critical step in effective waste management. To ensure proper containment, their landfills are built for non-hazardous waste with designs similar to those used for hazardous materials. In this way, the groundwater is protected to the greatest extent possible. The future depends on the way we treat our environment today, ensuring that what we leave our children is a better world than what we inherited.
Would you believe that less than 1% of all the pesticides we use actually reach their mark? Yet every year, these chemicals poison 45,000 people in the United States and almost 2 million people worldwide. Next, we will discover how we can be protected with more accurate testing results.
The first step in an environmental cleanup procedure is to determine exactly what it is that needs to be cleaned up. Once the problem has been pinpointed and the discharge has been identified, the proper procedure for correcting the situation can be determined. This is accomplished by sampling the waste stream effluent or standing liquids. The same procedure is also used for monitoring a possible threat to the environment. Starting gradually in the 70s, demand for analysis of water and waste stream effluent began to grow. Often, the sampling consisted of lowering a container tied to a rod into a stream at the point where waste material was being discharged into a body of water that might find its way into the area's water or sewer system. The sample was grabbed and then taken to a laboratory for analysis. In the beginning, pretty much any type of bottle, jar, or other container was used. It wasn't uncommon for a lab to receive samples in such things as beer and soda bottles, or even mayonnaise jars. No matter how carefully a container may be cleaned by ordinary methods, if it has been cleaned at all, it's likely that a residue of its original contents will remain, which could affect test results. In the early years of environmental testing, sites requiring cleanup were in such terrible shape and were so contaminated that sample bias introduced by containers probably wasn't such a significant factor. But as laboratory instrumentation became more sophisticated, the need for greater care and precision in the sampling process increased. For example, where measurements in parts per million were thought sufficiently precise before, improved equipment was being developed, like the electronics in mass spectrometers, which make measurements in parts per billion a routine matter, and parts per trillion are becoming common. In 1983, ICHEM, a Hayward, California company that had started 12 years before as a small laboratory, recognized the need for more sophisticated sample containers. They developed a standardized line of various types of containers for the environmental industry. Closures are lined with Teflon, which eliminates potential problems involving the contamination of a sample from contact with plain metal lids. Another innovation was the introduction in 1992 of SampleTrack, a software product that provides high-tech communication between laboratories and field engineers. The system uses the technology of bar-coded sample containers and palm-top PC scanners. By virtually eliminating paperwork and the need to hand-sort samples, it increases efficiency in the field, eliminates data error, and enables labs to plan for inbound samples. Today, as our country works hard to rectify the mistakes of the past and clean up environmental disasters, ICHEM has provided leadership in the all-important first steps. Helping to accurately determine what's there before the cleanup gets underway makes a big difference in the preservation effort to protect the environment.
Environmental impact begins at birth. The average baby uses 6,000 diapers before being toilet trained. A disposable diaper will take almost 500 years to decompose in a landfill, while a reusable cotton diaper will decompose in as little as 6 months. Let's take a look at how education is helping us address another environmental concern.
Our climate is changing. We have recently experienced the 4 warmest years in modern history. Winters are warmer and summers are cooler. Typhoons, monsoons, hurricanes, and tornadoes wreak havoc across the countryside. And the world is experiencing flooding in areas never before thought vulnerable. We are all responsible for many of these changes taking place. The Earth's atmosphere is being destroyed by toxic gases released into the air. It has begun to seriously unglue the fragile balance of life's forces. How is this happening? Scientists have named it the greenhouse effect. It is caused, they tell us, by gases rising to the atmosphere. Like the glass panes of a greenhouse, these gases form a barrier and do not allow the reflected heat rays from the sun to pass into the atmosphere, reflecting them instead back to the surface of the Earth, raising its temperature. Nearly half of all these gases emitted annually, 49%, are carbon dioxide, which contributes 55% to the global warming effect. Other gases include methane and nitrous oxide. The major source of these gases, worldwide 75%, results from the burning of fossil fuels, coal, oil, gas, and wood. Who are the culprits in this country, the major contributors to the abundance of carbon dioxide? It is you and I, all of us. We use these fuels for transportation, heating and cooling our homes and commercial buildings, and for generating electricity to run appliances. It has been estimated that every home that reduces its energy use by 20% reduces carbon dioxide emissions 3 tons per year. This will be possible in many American households and large buildings because the fossil fuel burning and electrical systems serving them are very inefficient. Through years of more is better sizing practices, these systems are bigger than need be, using 4 or 5 times more energy than is actually required. Add to this the way buildings are weatherized today, which reduces their heating and cooling needs even further, and energy systems become even more oversized. Amtrol Incorporated, an international company headquartered in West Warwick, Rhode Island, is a leader in developing application technology which utilizes energy-efficient products that reduce fossil fuel use in heating, cooling, and electrical systems in buildings. It urges contractors, builders, homeowners, and large building managers to audit energy use in buildings and to consider the installation of smaller, more efficient heating, cooling, and electrical use systems to provide an energy and cost-saving benefit, thus reducing the emissions of greenhouse gases. Through its Center for Education and Technical Development, the company offers educational seminars and intensive programs designed to meet the growing concerns about energy efficiency and global warming. The center reminds us of a sobering fact. Unless each of us takes actions to save our atmosphere and our water, all other causes, whether they be environmental, medical, moral, or economic, become meaningless.
Biodegrading is nature's way of returning materials to their natural elements. Most landfills are designed to prevent anything from degrading. One long-term solution would be to use non-degradable materials and find alternative ways to reuse them and not throw them away. I'm Ed Begley Jr. Join me next week as we continue to explore more environmental solutions on today's environment.
If you know of any interesting environmental success stories, call us at 407-997-9800. This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.